My crush dared me to wear a skirt. Now she likes me better this way. I never thought a stupid dare would change everything. It started as a joke, a playful challenge tossed my way by Emma, the girl I'd secretly been in love with since freshman year. She was fearless, confident, effortlessly cool. The kind of girl who wore eyeliner like war paint and could crush hearts with a single sarcastic grin. I, on the other hand, was invisible, quiet. The kind of guy teachers forgot to mark present, even when I was sitting in the front row. My name's Alex. Just Alex. 17. Average. Unremarkable. The kind of guy you'd never expect to have a secret drawer full of skirts and tights hidden under stacks of textbooks. No one knew, not my parents, not my friends, and definitely not Emma, that late at night, behind a locked door, I became someone else. Or maybe, I became more of myself. I didn't know anymore. The first time I tried on a skirt, it wasn't planned. I was 11, bored, and alone in my cousin's room. One curious tug, and it slipped over my legs like it had always belonged there. I should have been ashamed. I wasn't. Not really. I was afraid. Yes, terrified someone would walk in, but in that moment, in the mirror's reflection, I saw something softer, lighter, something that felt right in a way jeans and hoodies never did. Over the years, I learned how to hide it. I got good at lies, at locking doors, at covering up the little red marks left behind by tight waistbands and elastic lace. I even gave that side of me a name, Alexis. She lived in the shadows of my life, only coming out at midnight when the world was asleep. No one knew. No one could ever know. Then came Emma. We weren't close. Not really. She was the popular one, the artsy rebel with dyed streaks in her hair and a permanent smirk on her lips. She loved drama, both on stage and off. I was just a face in the crowd. But fate, or maybe the cruel joke of group assignments, put us together for a film studies project. And suddenly, she noticed me. It started with texts. Late-night chats about movies, her dreams of directing, my secret obsession with screenwriting. I found myself waiting for her messages like they were oxygen. She was smart, funny, bold. The kind of girl who could say you should totally wear eyeliner and make it sound like a compliment, not a taunt. One night, while we were editing clips in her basement, she threw a smirk my way and said, "You'd actually look kind of cute in a skirt." I laughed too loud. Yeah, right. I'm serious. Her eyes twinkled with mischief. Dare you to try it sometime? My heart nearly stopped. She didn't know. She couldn't. It was just a joke. One of her many wild, fearless provocations. But the words hit me like a lightning strike. Not because I was offended, but because a part of me wanted to say yes. I brushed it off. In your dreams. She raised an eyebrow. Maybe it is. The town we lived in wasn't exactly progressive. A quiet suburb tucked between nothing and nowhere. People talked. People judged. Boys were boys and girls wore pink, and no one ever mixed the two unless it was Halloween. At school, I kept my head down. Got decent grades. Avoided gym, like the plague. My world was small, me, my laptop, and a handful of acquaintances who barely noticed when I wasn't around. At home, things weren't much better. My dad was the strong, silent type. Ex-military, firm handshake, tighter morals. My mom was sweet but distant, buried in charity work and Bible study. Neither of them had any clue who I really was, and I wasn't brave enough to tell them. So I lived in between, caught between who the world thought I was and who I felt I might be. And in that in-between space, Emma's dare echoed louder than it should have. It should have ended there. Just another one of Emma's wild jokes. But I couldn't let it go. Her voice kept replaying in my mind, "You'd actually look kind of cute in a skirt." And the way she looked at me when she said it, there was something different in her eyes. Not cruel, not mocking. Curious. A week later, while my parents were out of town and the house was mine, I opened my drawer, the hidden one, the one that held Alexis's clothes. I held up a pleated navy skirt I'd never had the courage to wear, not even in private. I thought of Emma. Then I made a decision. Tonight, I told myself I say yes to the dare. That evening, The house was too quiet. I double-checked the locks. Front door, deadbolt. Garage door, shut tight. Curtains closed. My heart beat faster than usual, thudding in my chest like a warning. But I ignored it. I had made up my mind. Tonight, Alexis comes out. I stood in front of my full-length mirror, the skirt dangling from a velvet hanger like a dare come to life. It was a navy blue pleated skirt, barely mid-thigh, with a crisp texture and a hidden side zipper. I had bought it online 6 months ago, never worn, tags still clinging to it like guilt. Now it trembled in my hands. I hesitated. What if someone saw me? What if the neighbors peeked through the blinds? What if I looked ridiculous? But louder than all those fears was one whisper. What if Emma was serious? What if she wanted to see me like this? I started with a long shower. Not for hygiene, though I scrubbed harder than usual, but to prepare. My razor moved in slow, calculated strokes as I shaved my legs smooth for the first time in weeks. The water was hot, almost scalding, but it felt purifying, like I was washing away the lies. After drying off, I opened the drawer. Pantyhose. Soft, nude-toned. Slipping them on was like wrapping my legs in silk, gentle, smooth, a second skin. Then came the padded bra. I slid it on with practiced ease, stuffed with foam inserts, and adjusted the straps. I paused at the skirt. Sliding it up my legs, I zipped it at the side, the fabric hugging my waist with a snugness that felt right. Too right. I looked at myself in the mirror. Still Alex. Just in a skirt. No makeup, no hair, no illusion. Not Alexis. Not yet. I sat at my desk and opened the small case I kept hidden behind old computer game boxes. Inside, a drugstore collection of secrets. Lip gloss, mascara, foundation, a dusty eyeshadow palette. I didn't know much about makeup, just what I'd learned from YouTube and stolen glances at Emma's Insta Reels. I dabbed foundation, blending carefully with my fingers. Applied a little blush, then mascara. My hand shook when I added eyeliner, just a little flick like Emma wore. Then the wig. Brown, shoulder length, slightly curled at the ends. It wasn't expensive, but it was enough. I slipped it on, adjusted the hairline, and stared at the girl in the mirror. She stared back. Not Alex. Alexis. My breath caught. I spun slowly, watching the skirt sway with every turn. The pantyhose shimmered faintly under the lamplight. The makeup, the wig, the outfit, it all came together like a magic trick. For a moment, I wasn't pretending. I was her. And yet, even in that moment of pure thrill, my stomach churned. This wasn't just dress up. This wasn't Halloween. I was alone, dressed like this in my house, and I couldn't stop thinking of Emma. What would she say if she saw me like this? Would she laugh? Would she freak out? Or would she smile and say, "Told you you'd look cute"? I walked around the room, heels clicking softly on the wood floor. The short skirt brushed my thighs with every step. I practiced my voice a little higher, a little gentler. "Hi, I'm Alexis." God, I sounded ridiculous. Still, I kept going. I grabbed my phone, opened the camera app, and snapped a few selfies. I deleted them instantly. Took new ones. Better ones. My heart pounded. What if I sent one to Emma? No. No way. That'd be suicide. But the idea danced in my head, wild and tempting. Just one photo. Just one little dare fulfilled. I heard a noise. A car door? A voice? I rushed to the window, heart hammering. Peeked through the blinds. No one. Just shadows. But I couldn't shake the feeling. What if someone did see? What if my dad came home early? What if Emma decided to stop by to work on the project? The thought made me dizzy. The idea of being caught, of her seeing me like this, all dolled up, was terrifying and thrilling. My legs trembled. I didn't change out of the outfit. Instead, I sat on the couch, curled my legs under me, and stared at my phone. Emma. Hey, you ghosting me or what? I jolted. My fingers hovered over the screen. Alex. Just laying low. You? Emma. Bored. Wanna come over? I got snacks and that horror movie you hate. I froze. Come over? Like right now? I was still in full transformation. No way I could change fast enough. I stood up, panic rising. I yanked off the wig and wiped at my eyeliner with my sleeve. The mirror mocked me, a half-made girl with smeared makeup and tangled hair. But then, I paused. Emma wanted me over. What if I went like this? Not fully dressed, but maybe a subtle test? A touch of eyeliner left on? A hint of lip gloss? Would she notice? Would she say anything? I didn't move. Not yet. I sat on the bed, legs still crossed ladle-like, skirt rising with emotion. My phone buzzed again. Emma.
Fine. Be boring.
I dare you to wear that skirt, though. My breath stopped. She knew. No, she was teasing. There's no way she actually knew. Was there? Did she see me through the window? Had I slipped somehow? Or was she just joking? Again? My palms sweat. Emma. Just kidding, unless you're actually into that kind of thing. I stared at the screen. That wasn't just a joke. That was bait. The silence in the room now felt deafening. Emma's last message hovered on my screen like a ticking bomb. Just kidding, unless you're actually into that kind of thing. I didn't know what scared me more, her figuring it out, or her not caring if I did. I stared at my reflection. The eyeliner had smudged a little, but the skirt still sat perfectly in place. My legs, crossed delicately like I'd seen in countless pictures, still shimmered faintly from the sheer pantyhose. And beneath the surface, my heart beat like a trapped bird in my chest. I had always kept Alexis hidden. But Emma's joke, was it a joke, was now daring her into the light. I should have changed, ripped off the skirt, scrubbed off the makeup, buried Alexis back in the shadows where she belonged. But I didn't. Instead, I stood up and walked toward the mirror again. Something in the way my hips moved, not swaying exactly but softer, more deliberate, felt different. Felt like something I could learn. Or maybe something I had always known. Was this me? Or was this still just a costume? The knock came out of nowhere. 3 sharp raps on the front door. I nearly screamed. I froze mid-step, eyes wide, heart leaping into my throat. My legs locked. My breath caught. The knock came again. I darted toward the hallway, nearly tripping in the heels I had forgotten I was still wearing. I turned off the lamp and peeked through the peephole.
Emma.
My stomach dropped.
No.
No, 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 no. She couldn't see me like this. I dashed back into the living room, kicking off the heels. I pulled at the zipper of the skirt. It stuck halfway. I yanked again, too hard. The zipper jammed. Another knock. Softer this time. Alex, her voice called. I know you're in there. I saw your light on.
Crap.
She had seen me. I yanked harder at the zipper, still nothing. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a hoodie off the back of a chair, and threw it over myself, pulling the hood tight around the wig. I wiped at the lipstick with a tissue, smearing it more. One more knock. Then the doorknob turned. She had a key. Of course she had a key. I had given it to her when we were working on the film project last month. The door swung open. And there she was. Emma stepped inside, holding a bag of chips and 2 cans of soda. Yo, she said, casual, like she hadn't just walked in on a storm. You okay? I turned toward her slowly, trying to angle my body away. Why, yeah. Just wasn't expecting anyone. She narrowed her eyes. You didn't answer my texts. Thought you might have passed out or something. She set the snacks down and looked at me. Are you wearing makeup? My throat closed. I shook my head.
No.
Just allergies. She took a step closer. I backed away. That's when the hem of the skirt peeked out from beneath the hoodie.
She saw it.
Emma's eyes dropped, and for a second, the world stood still. No sound. No movement. Just her, staring at the edge of the pleated navy fabric that had betrayed me. She looked up slowly, expression unreadable. Is that? I swallowed. It's not what you think. Really, she said softly. Because I think you're wearing a skirt. I said nothing. My legs trembled. I wanted the ground to open and swallow me whole. Then she did something I didn't expect. She smiled. You actually did it? she said, a hint of delight in her voice. You took the dare seriously? I blinked. Wait, you're not mad? Why would I be mad? She shrugged. I dared you, remember? Honestly, I didn't think you'd have the guts. She sat on the couch like it was the most normal thing in the world, cracking open a soda. So, is this like a one-time thing or? I didn't answer right away. Because I didn't know. I pulled the hoodie off slowly. The wig tumbled down around my shoulders. My makeup was half-wrecked, but I didn't care. This is something I've been doing for a while. I admit it. Emma looked at me, really looked at me. Not with disgust. Not with mockery. But with curiosity. Like she was studying a new angle of a familiar painting. Does it make you feel better? I nodded. Like more you? I hesitated, then nodded again. She leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Huh. It felt unreal. I had spent years terrified of being caught. And now Emma was sitting in my living room, nodding thoughtfully, sipping soda, while I sat in a skirt, pantyhose, and eyeliner. I should go, I mumbled. Emma raised an eyebrow. Go where? You live here. I mean I should go change. She tilted her head. Do you want to? I paused. I didn't. Not yet. I don't know. Emma smiled softly. Well, don't. I like you better this way. My heart stopped. What? She shrugged again. You're more alive.
Softer. Real.
I dunno. It suits you. It should have been a relief. A victory. The moment where everything turned magical. But something in her smile had a sharpness to it. Something unreadable. I mean, she said casually, this gives me so many ideas for our film project. Like, what if we made it about dual identity or… I cut her off. Emma, please don't tell anyone. Her eyes locked on mine. You're not ashamed of this, are you? I didn't answer. That was answer enough. She stood and walked over, brushing a strand of wig hair behind my ear. Her touch lingered on my cheek. You shouldn't be, she whispered. Alexis is beautiful. I sat there long after she left, still in the same outfit, still wearing the wig and makeup. My phone buzzed once more. Emma, next time, maybe we go full glam. I've got a pink skirt that'll look amazing on you. My reflection stared back at me from the darkened TV screen. Was I still just playing dress up? Or had Emma just dared me into becoming someone I could never walk away from? I thought that night would be a one-time thing. Just a moment of bravery or stupidity, followed by a retreat back into normalcy. I'd pack Alexis away again, delete the selfies, and go back to being the invisible guy in jeans and hoodies. But Emma didn't let me. The next morning, she sent me a photo. It was her, posing in a flared pink skirt, full glam makeup, lips pursed in a teasing smile. The caption, "Your turn." That was how it started. We began texting constantly. She'd send makeup tips, skirt links, aesthetic inspo. She nicknamed me Lexi. I tried to correct her once, Alexis, but she insisted. Lexi's cuter, she said. I didn't argue. The next weekend, she came over with a shopping bag. I thought we could play dress up, she said, dropping it on my bed like it was nothing. Inside, a pastel pink crop top, a skater skirt, tights, a pair of ballet flats, and a lace choker. I can't wear this, I stammered. She leaned in, grin wicked. Why not? You wore that navy one like a pro. But you looked so pretty, she added, voice almost sultry. I haven't stopped thinking about it. My throat went dry. Was she attracted to me? Or was she just toying with me? The moment I stepped out of the bathroom, fully changed, her eyes lit up. She clapped like we were at a fashion show. Yes, Lexi. Turn around. I obeyed. She adjusted the choker, tugged the wig into place, reapplied my lip gloss. And then she said something I wasn't ready for. Smile. I did. Good girl. My stomach flipped. My face burned. Something fluttered inside me. Humiliation mixed with excitement? I didn't know what this was anymore. Was she helping me? Controlling me? That night, I forgot to put away the clothes. I had stuffed the pink skirt into a drawer, but the choker was still on my nightstand. The wig sat on my desk chair. My mom knocked on the door the next morning while I was still half asleep. "Alex, I need your help." She paused in the doorway. Her eyes landed on the wig.
"What's that?" she asked.
My mouth went dry. "Part of a costume," I lied. "For the film project." She nodded, slow and unsure.
"All right.
"Just don't make a mess." She closed the door behind her. I collapsed onto the bed, heart pounding. One more second, and she would have found the whole drawer. Emma grew bolder. She started planning full outfits. Full-day dares. "Wear this under your jeans," she'd text. Or, "What if Lexi came to school just once?" I told her she was crazy. She told me I was scared. She wasn't wrong. But she didn't understand. To her, it was fun. To me, it was a life unraveling. One day she asked, "Why do you like it?" I stared at the message for 10 minutes. Finally, I typed, "Because for once, I feel like I'm not pretending." She didn't reply. Not for hours. Then finally, I knew it. Emma stopped calling it a game. She called it helping me embrace myself. But sometimes it felt like she was pushing me off a cliff, just to see if I'd fly. I started skipping classes, too afraid someone would notice my shaved arms, the trace of eyeliner I couldn't quite scrub off. I started dreaming in pink, waking up missing the feel of tights on my legs. I wanted to stop. I couldn't. One night, I stood in front of the mirror, Alexis in full bloom. Hair curled, lipstick perfect, skirt floating just right. And I looked into her eyes. Not mine. Hers. The girl in the mirror. The one who smiled more. Laughed easier. But wasn't real. I raised my hand to the mirror. She did too. And for the first time I whispered, "I think I'm her." Then the mirror tilted, slipping slightly off the wall. I reached to steady it, knocked over a perfume bottle, glass shattered across the floor. Like the illusion itself had cracked. She noticed I was pulling away, that I was scared. So she gave me an ultimatum. "We're going to the mall," she said one Saturday morning.
"You. Me."
"Lexi." "No. It's just clothes." "No, it's not," I snapped. She stared at me, eyes narrowing. "I thought you were finally being honest with yourself." "I am." "Then prove it." I looked down. My fingers clenched. "Emma, this isn't a game for me." Her voice dropped. "I know. That's why I'm not letting you run." Emma grabbed my hand. Her grip was firm.
"Certain."
"We're going out," she whispered. "And you're going as you." I stared at her hands. One manicured. One trembling. Then I looked in the mirror again, and didn't know which one I was anymore. I don't remember agreeing to go. One second, I was arguing. The next, I was in Emma's bedroom, standing on a fuzzy pink rug, staring down at an outfit that screamed Alexis. High-waisted jeans, a flowy blouse, a soft cardigan, ballet flats with bows. "I can't," I said again. "Yes, you can," she replied, already uncapping mascara. "You've done harder things. I've never been out." "Exactly." She smiled. "First time for everything." We parked in the farthest corner of the lot. Emma insisted it would ease the anxiety. It didn't. I sat in the passenger seat, fully dressed. My legs trembled inside the skinny jeans. The flat shoes made no noise, but the sound of my heartbeat was deafening. My hair was tucked behind one ear, lip gloss shimmering faintly in the rearview mirror. "Ready?" she asked.
"No."
She opened the door, anyway. The mall was loud.
Bright.
Every step felt like walking naked through a crowd. I was hyper-aware of everything. The way the blouse clung to my chest, the soft swish of my hips, the faint scent of perfume I'd let Emma dab behind my ears. I thought people would stare. But they didn't. Most didn't even look. The world moved on, uncaring. And somehow that hurt more. Inside H&M, Emma became someone else. She grabbed clothes, dresses, skirts, heels, laughing, holding them against me. "This would look amazing on you," she squealed. I stood there like a mannequin. She dragged me into a changing room. Inside, the lights were too harsh, the mirror too honest. I changed slowly, each outfit more revealing than the last. "I don't want to do this," I muttered. She stepped behind me. Yes, you do.
No, Emma. You want me to.
Her smile faltered. I'm not your doll, I whispered. She blinked. What are you talking about? I like the skirt. I liked Alexis. But this is about you controlling me. Emma flinched like I'd slapped her. I helped you, she said.
No.
You pushed me. Silence. Then her voice turned cold. I dared you. You accepted. Don't blame me if you liked it. I stared at her. For the first time, I saw her clearly. Not the cool girl I idolized. Not the fantasy. Just a girl who loved to be in control. I locked the changing room door and sat down. Still wearing the pink dress she picked. Still in character. But the character didn't feel like me anymore. Tears stung my eyes. Was Alexis real? Or just something created by someone else's expectations? I looked at my reflection. Smeared eyeliner. Ruined lip gloss. One heel on, one heel off. I picked up a tube of lipstick from the shopping bag. Emma had handed it to me minutes ago. Try this color, Lexi. Instead, I uncapped it and wrote across the mirror. Who am I? Then I sat there, waiting. Minutes passed. Then a soft knock. Emma's voice. I'm sorry. I didn't answer. I didn't mean to. I thought I was helping. Still nothing. I wanted to see more of you. But maybe I got addicted to how much you let me see. Silence again. Let me know when you're ready to talk. Then her footsteps. Then she was gone. I stayed in that room for 20 minutes. 20 long, silent minutes with only the mirror and the message in red lipstick. Then I stood. I took off the dress. Pulled on jeans. A hoodie. Wiped the makeup off, but left the faint eyeliner. Slid off the flats. Put on sneakers. I walked out, not as Lexi, not as Alex. As something in between. That night, I sat on the floor of my room, wig beside me, skirt folded neatly. I stared at my hands. I wasn't angry at Emma. Not fully. She hadn't understood. But I hadn't either. This wasn't about her dare. This was about me, using her dare as an excuse. To finally look at myself. To finally admit. I didn't want to stop dressing. I didn't want to bury Alexis again. I just didn't know who she really was. Or how much of her was me. My phone buzzed. A message from Emma. You coming tomorrow? Or are we done? I didn't reply. Not yet. I walked to the mirror again. Picked up the lipstick from earlier. And below, who am I? I wrote. Still figuring it out. Then I looked at my reflection. No wig. No makeup. Just me. Half boy. Half girl. But for the first time, not hiding. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Alexis's clothes folded neatly beside my bed like sacred relics. My mind replayed everything. Emma's smirk, the mall lights, the lipstick message on the mirror. And her words. Let me know when you're ready to talk.
Was I?
Maybe for the first time, yes. But not with her. Not yet. The next morning, the air was thick with tension. I showered, dressed simply, jeans, hoodie, sneakers. But when I looked in the mirror, the ghost of eyeliner still clung faintly to my lashes. I didn't rub it off. Let it stay. I walked downstairs just as my mom was pouring coffee. You're up early, she said, surprised. Couldn't sleep. She studied me for a moment. Everything okay? I nodded too quickly.
Yeah.
Just school stuff. She nodded, but her eyes lingered on me longer than usual. Had she seen something? The missing wig? The tucked-away skirt? Had she noticed the small shift in my voice? At school, the halls felt louder than usual. I kept my head down. Emma was nowhere to be seen. Maybe she was avoiding me. Or maybe she was waiting. At lunch, I sat alone. Until a shadow fell across the table. Hey. I looked up. It wasn't Emma. It was Jared. Football player.
Alpha.
Emma's ex. And one of the last people I wanted near me. You're Alex, right? He asked, voice too casual. Yeah. He dropped his tray and sat down across from me. I heard something weird yesterday, he said, stabbing a fry. Don't know if it's true. My throat tightened. What? He leaned in, voice low. Emma said you wear skirts. My heart stopped. He grinned like it was a joke. But it wasn't. He was watching me too closely, waiting for a reaction. I forced a shrug. She dares a lot of people to do weird stuff. He leaned back.
Sure.
But she showed me a picture. Silence.
Ice. Fire.
Collapse. She didn't mean to, he added quickly. I just saw her scrolling. My hands clenched under the table. He saw Alexis. He saw me. Jared leaned in again. I won't tell anyone. Yet.
Pause.
But I'm curious.
My mouth was dry.
Why'd you do it? I blinked. I don't know, I whispered. He stared at me, then stood up, tray in hand. Before he left, he looked over his shoulder. That skirt? It did suit you. He walked off, leaving me breathless. After school, I didn't go home. I walked. Ended up outside the mall. I didn't go inside. I just sat there, outside the glass doors, staring at my reflection in the window.
A boy.
But not really. Not anymore. Then, the voice. You're braver than you think. I turned.
Emma.
She sat down beside me. We didn't speak for a long time. Finally, she said, You're mad at me. I didn't deny it. But you needed a push, she added. Even if I pushed too hard. I nodded slowly. She reached into her bag, pulled out the choker. The same one I'd worn that first night. Held it out. I'll stop pushing, she said. But if you want to take control, maybe this time you choose. I stared at the choker. It shimmered in the evening light. Delicate.
Soft.
But powerful. That night, back in my room, I stood in front of the mirror again. The wig, the skirt, the tights, all waiting. I didn't touch them. Not yet. But I picked up the choker, held it in my hand, then slipped it around my neck, clicked it into place. I stared at myself. Still Alex. Still Alexis. Still both. Then, a voice. Not in my head. Behind me, the door I had locked earlier creaked open.
Alex.
My mom's voice. My blood turned to ice. I spun around, choker still on, eyes wide. She stood frozen in the doorway. Her gaze flicked down to the skirt draped on the bed, then to the mirror, then to me.
She saw me.
My mom stood frozen in the doorway, staring, not just at me, but through me.
Past the boy she thought she raised.
Past the lies I'd stitched into every sentence. Her eyes drifted from the skirt on my bed, to the choker around my neck, to the faint shimmer of lip gloss still clinging to my mouth. And I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. All I could do was stand there, frozen in time, heart slamming against my ribcage like it was trying to escape this body altogether. Mom, I choked. She blinked once. Then, without a word, she turned around and quietly shut the door. That sound, the soft click of the doorknob, was louder than a scream. I stared at the closed door, trembling. My knees gave out. I sank to the floor, back against the dresser, my reflection in the mirror beside me. The choker still clung to my throat, but suddenly it felt like a noose. I ripped it off, tore the wig from my head, buried my face in my hands and sat there, bare, unmasked and terrified. She had seen everything, and said nothing. I didn't leave my room that night. Didn't change the skirt I was wearing.
Didn't eat. Didn't sleep.
I just lay there, curled on my side, staring at the ceiling. My thoughts ran wild. Would she tell Dad? Would she scream at me tomorrow? Would she pretend like nothing happened? Or would she just stop looking at me the way she used to? My alarm buzzed at 7 a.m. like always. I didn't move. 10 minutes later, a soft knock. Alex. Her voice.
Calm. Too calm.
Breakfast is ready. I couldn't answer. Not yet. I stayed in bed until I heard her footsteps fade down the hall. When I finally went down, she was at the stove, flipping pancakes. She didn't look at me. Morning, she said, like it was any other day. Morning, I mumbled, sitting at the table. She placed a plate in front of me, then sat across from me with her own. The silence between us was suffocating. Neither of us said a word about the night before. She asked me how school was. I said fine. She asked about Emma. I said haven't seen her. She nodded. I chewed pancakes like they were paper. Inside, everything burned. After school, I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling again. My phone buzzed. Emma, I heard. Your mom saw. I didn't answer. A second message followed. Are you okay? I still didn't reply. Because I wasn't okay. I was unraveling. And the thread that held me together had snapped the second that door opened. I don't know why, but my brain dragged me back. Years ago. Maybe 10. I was a kid. Home alone.
Bored.
Curious. I'd opened my cousin's suitcase during a sleepover. She had this pink skirt, nothing fancy. Just soft cotton with a little frill at the bottom. I'd held it up to myself in the mirror, and it felt right. But then she caught me. She laughed. Called me weird. And I promised myself I'd never do it again. But I did. Again and again. Until Alexis wasn't just a costume. She was me. Or maybe the version of me I was never allowed to become. That night, I sat in front of my mirror again. The choker lay on the desk beside me. I didn't pick it up. I didn't need to. Because this time, I didn't need accessories to feel the weight of who I really was. I looked myself in the eyes. Still afraid. Still uncertain. But for the first time, I said it out loud. I'm not a joke. Then, outside my room, I heard footsteps. And a pause. And then, a knock. Not harsh. Not angry. Just gentle. Can we talk? My mom asked through the door. I didn't answer right away. Then I stood, took a deep breath, and whispered.
Yeah.
Mom sat on the edge of my bed. I stood by the door, arms crossed, afraid to move. We were barely in the same room, and yet it felt like 1,000 miles stretched between us. I don't know what I saw, she began, voice careful, deliberate. But I want to understand. If you'll let me.
I didn't know what to say.
So I nodded. And she nodded back. That was it. No questions. No lectures. No name-calling. But no real conversation either. It was a truce, not peace. The next few days passed in a haze of fake normal. We tiptoed around each other. I ate my breakfast. She drank her coffee. She asked if I needed lunch money. I grunted a no. She offered to drive me to school. I said I'd walk. The skirt was gone. The wig too. Packed into a box, I shoved under my bed. Alexis was in hiding again. But I could still feel her under my skin, like a phantom limb. I didn't text Emma back. Not after her "Are you okay?" message. Not after the follow-up she sent 2 days later. "I'm here if you want to talk." And not after the final one 4 days later. I miss Lexi. That one hit the hardest. Because I missed her too. But I didn't know if I missed Emma the girl I liked, or Emma the girl who had turned my truth into her dare. I remembered being 14. Locked in my bedroom with a blanket over the window, afraid my mom would walk in. I'd slipped on a silky purple nightgown I found in an old box of donations. My legs were still hairy, my face still round and unshaped. But when I looked in the mirror, my heart fluttered. Not because I looked like a girl, but because for 1 second I didn't look like a stranger. That night, I'd cried. Quietly into a pillow. Half from joy, half from shame. I thought I could outrun it. But whispers have long legs. By Thursday, people were staring. Not everyone. Not loudly. But a few. A group of guys near my locker laughed and said, "Hey Lexi, looking plain today." I turned away. Jared walked by later, too close, voice too low. "Still think you wore it better than most girls." Was that praise? Or a threat? I didn't ask. That night, she stood at my doorway, hand on the frame. "You've been quiet." I shrugged. "I know you don't want to talk, but when you do, I'm here." I turned toward her. "Why aren't you angry?" She blinked. "Because I'm confused. And scared. But not angry." "That doesn't make sense." "I don't understand everything," she said slowly, "but I saw the look on your face that night. And I don't think it was about a joke. I stared at the floor. She took a step closer. Do you want to tell me who Alexis is? The name hit like a jolt. I didn't even know she heard that name. I opened my mouth, then closed it. I don't know yet, I whispered. She nodded. Okay. When you do, I'm here. And just like that, she was gone again. But this time, I wanted her to stay. I started writing. Just for myself. Just to survive the thoughts. Dear Emma, I don't know who you want me to be. Sometimes it feels like you're the only person who ever really saw me. But then I remember it was your dare, your rules, your timeline. And I wonder if you ever saw me at all, or just the project you were building. But I miss you. I miss Lexi. And I don't know who I am without her. I never sent it, but I read it 3 times that night, lying under the covers, wearing nothing feminine, but still feeling like a girl in hiding. That night, I opened the box, pulled out the choker. Just the choker. Slipped it on over my t-shirt. No wig, no lipstick, no skirt. Just the choker. And I stared at myself in the dark window. And whispered, still here. It was Saturday morning. I hadn't left my room in nearly 2 days. My mom had knocked once, left a tray of food. I hadn't touched it. I'd been journaling, doodling, avoiding my own reflection like it might burn me alive. And then came a knock I didn't expect. 3 quick taps. And then, her voice. Alex. I froze.
Emma.
I know you're in there. Your mom let me in. My heart dropped into my stomach. She said I have 5 minutes before she kicks me out. I didn't move. Then, I brought something. I stood, hands shaking, heart racing. Part of me wanted to run out the window. Another part wanted to scream at her. And a small, quiet voice in my chest whispered, you miss her. I opened the door. There she was. Hair in a messy braid. No makeup. Hoodie, jeans, sneakers. She looked softer. Quieter. Like someone who had cried recently. She held a flash drive in one hand. And a small, gift-wrapped box in the other. I didn't come to push you, she said. I came to say I'm sorry. She sat on the edge of my bed, just like my mom had. I sat on the floor, back to the dresser, arms wrapped around my knees. I messed up, she began. I dared you for fun, but somewhere along the way, I stopped thinking about how real it was for you. I stared at the floor. You were my project, she whispered. Not my person. That one hurt. But it was also the first honest thing she'd said in weeks. I made something, she said, holding up the flash drive. And I want you to see it, alone if you want. Or with me. I hesitated. What is it? She smiled a little. You'll see. Then she handed me the box. I opened it slowly. Inside was a small silver bracelet. Thin, delicate, with a single charm. A tiny letter, A. Not for Alex. Not for Emma. Just A. I swallowed hard. I didn't know what name you'd want to use, she said, voice soft. So, I left it open. You can pick who that letter belongs to. My fingers closed around the charm. It burned into my palm. After she left, I plugged the flash drive into my laptop. There was one file. Becoming Alexis by Emma. I hesitated. Then I clicked play. The screen faded and on a soft instrumental song, gentle piano notes. Then clips began to play. Me, no, Alexis, spinning in front of Emma's full-length mirror. Laughing in a sundress. Trying to walk in heels and falling into her arms. Emma had recorded everything. Them all. The wig sessions. The makeup tutorials. And edited it all like a movie. Not a joke. Not a prank. But a tribute. To someone real. Someone beautiful. Near the end, Emma's voice came in.
Soft.
Unsteady. You didn't see it, Lexi, but every time you looked in the mirror, you smiled differently. Like someone finally saw herself and believed she was allowed to exist. The screen faded to black. Text appeared. Whoever you are, you're still you. And that's enough. I pressed pause.
And cried. I didn't know how long I sat there.
Eventually, I picked up my phone. Typed a message to Emma. Thank you. For seeing her. even when I couldn't. She replied almost instantly. Is it okay if I see her again soon? I stared at those words. Not demanding. Not daring.
Just asking.
And something inside me whispered, yes. Sunday night. The house was quiet. I was still wearing the bracelet Emma gave me. A charm tapped softly against my wrist every time I moved. I hadn't worn the wig or the skirt again. But that charm made me feel like Alexis still existed, like she was still allowed to breathe. I came downstairs to get water, and found my mom waiting at the table, with 2 mugs of tea. She looked up, said nothing, just nodded toward the empty chair across from her. My heart beat faster than it should have. I sat down, and waited. She stirred her tea slowly. I used to worry something was wrong with you, she said gently. You were always quiet, polite, obedient, but never open. I stayed silent.
She kept going.
I thought maybe you were shy, or maybe I'd done something wrong. But the older you got, the more it felt like you were hiding. I swallowed hard. My fingers curled around the mug, stealing warmth. You weren't a bad kid, she added quickly. You were just guarded, like every word had to be filtered. I didn't look up, because she was right. I want to ask something, she said, her voice suddenly thinner. I braced myself. If Alexis is part of you, is she who you are? That word hung in the air like a live wire. She said the name, Alexis. Not sarcastically, not with judgment, just gently. I couldn't lie. I think maybe she is. She nodded slowly. And is that new? I shook my head.
No.
Since when?
A pause.
Forever? Her lips pressed together, but she didn't look surprised. I thought so, she said softly. She took a long sip of tea, then placed the mug down carefully. I found lipstick under your bed when you were 13, she whispered. I thought maybe it was a prank or something from Emma. I didn't ask. I froze. I've found clothes before too. A pair of tights. A pink tank top. Once a dress. I told myself I imagined it, or that it was just a phase. Silence. I didn't want to ask because I didn't want to mess it up. Tears stung my eyes. You didn't mess it up. She looked at me with wet eyes of her own. But I also didn't help, did I? It came out in a flood. How Emma dared me. How I accepted too easily. How it awakened something I'd buried for years. The mall. The fear. The thrill. The video.
The shame.
I told her about the first time I wore a skirt. The first time I cried after seeing myself in makeup. How scared I was to lose her. How broken I felt when she saw me that night. I expected her to look horrified. Instead, she took my hand and held it, like she was scared she'd lose me. I don't fully understand, she said, but I love you. That part's never going to change. My chest cracked open. I sobbed, ugly, loud, unfiltered sobs. Years of silence spilling out. She wrapped her arms around me, tighter than she ever had before. And for the first time in my life, I felt like all of me, boy, girl, Alexis, Alex, was seen and loved. The next morning, there was a folded note on my dresser. If Alexis ever wants to borrow anything from my closet, she's welcome to. Mom. I laughed. Then cried again. Then I opened her closet and carefully chose a soft lavender cardigan. It smelled like her, like comfort, like home. It came on a Tuesday afternoon while I was in the middle of pretending to do homework. Emma, there's a Halloween costume party this Friday. I'm going as a fairy. You should come. As Alexis. My breath caught. Another dare?
No.
This was different. She wasn't teasing. She was inviting. Could I do it? Be Alexis. Not in private, not in a bedroom, not behind a locked door, but in front of people? In front of strangers? What if someone laughed? What if Jared was there? What if someone took a photo? But a louder thought drowned them all out. What if I finally let her be seen? That night, at dinner, I pushed my mashed potatoes around for 10 minutes before blurting out. I've been invited to a costume party. Mom didn't even blink.
Fun.
Are you going with Emma? Yeah. Do you need help picking an outfit? I stared at her. She met my gaze calmly. Not pushing. Not pretending. Just open. I nodded slowly and said it out loud. I want to go as Alexis. Her smile didn't falter. I'd love to help.
We didn't go shopping.
We went digging through boxes, through closets, through forgotten storage bins. In one old chest, Mom pulled out a dress she hadn't worn since her 20s. Cream-colored. Vintage lace. Cinched waist. Flutter sleeves. It was perfect.
Try it on, she said.
I stepped into it. It fit like a story I'd been waiting to tell. The night before the party, I sat at my desk with a mirror, foundation, blush, eyeliner, and shaking hands. Mom knocked once. Need a coach? I laughed nervously. Please. She sat beside me and guided each step, not just with technique, but with love. This is just enhancement, she whispered. You're already beautiful. Friday. The party started at 7. At 6:42, I stood in front of the mirror. Wig styled. Lip gloss shimmering. Dress fluttering just above the knees. A soft pink choker. White flats. I looked like someone I'd always imagined, but never believed could exist. I took a deep breath. My mom stood in the doorway, camera in hand. You ready? I nodded. She snapped a photo. Whether you go or not, she said, I want you to remember this moment, because I've never seen you glow like this. Emma met me at the driveway of the party house. She wore glitter wings, sparkly eyeshadow, and the biggest grin I'd ever seen. Oh my God, she gasped. You look unreal. Too much? I asked.
No.
Just right. She took my hand, not in a romantic way, but like an anchor, and led me in. The room was full, costumes, music, lights, people laughing. And then they saw me. Heads turned. A few did double takes. One guy raised his eyebrows. A girl whispered something to her friend. I kept walking, heels tapping gently. Emma leaned in.
Breathe.
They're staring because you're stunning. I forced a smile, and slowly, step by step, I started to believe her. Half an hour in, someone dragged Emma to the dance floor. She looked at me. Come with. I hesitated, then nodded. In the middle of a sea of people, lights flashing, bass pulsing, I danced. First awkwardly, then freely. The skirt spun around me, hair brushing my shoulders. A smile I didn't have to fake. For a few perfect minutes, I forgot about being afraid. Because Alexis wasn't pretending.
She was.
It happened near the end. I caught a glimpse of someone standing in the kitchen, half in shadow.
Jared.
He held a drink. His eyes locked onto mine. Not with disgust. Not with mockery. But curiosity. Then he nodded once. And disappeared into the crowd. The party was still going strong when I stepped out onto the back patio to breathe. The air was crisp, stars shimmering above, the faint beat of music pulsing through the walls. I leaned against the railing, heart still thudding, not from fear anymore, but from adrenaline. I had done it. Alexis had stepped into the world. And the world hadn't ended. I heard them slow, deliberate approaching from inside. I turned halfway, expecting Emma. But it wasn't her. It was Jared. Same hoodie. Same too casual walk. He stopped a few feet away. We stared at each other for a long moment. Then he spoke. You pull it off. I blinked. What? He nodded at me. The look.
The vibe.
It's convincing. That's supposed to be a compliment? He shrugged. I don't know. Maybe. Silence. Then, you're not going to tell anyone? He leaned against the opposite railing. Why would I? He said. You didn't do anything wrong. I studied his face for a trace of sarcasm. But there wasn't any. He meant it. Then Jared looked right at me. Eyes sharp. Voice low. But just so you know. I held my breath. He stepped closer. Some of the guys inside? They don't know who you are. Yet. A chill ran through me. And if they do find out, he trailed off, letting the sentence hang. My fists clenched. What, Jared? They'll laugh? Kick me out? Post about it online? He didn't answer that. Instead, he stepped even closer.
so close I could see the tension in his jaw, the storm behind his eyes. Then, he leaned in
and whispered, "Or maybe they'll like what they see." My heart stopped. I pulled back, startled. What's that supposed to mean? Jared gave me a crooked half-smile, then turned and walked away. Not fast. Not apologetic. Just calm. Like he dropped a bomb and didn't need to wait for it to explode. Later that night, back home, I stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Dress still on. Lip gloss smudged. Bracelet glittering in the light. I touched the charm. My reflection stared back, worn, tear-streaked, glowing. Alexis. And, behind her, Alex. For once, they didn't look like strangers. They looked like one person.
Me.
My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text message. You looked amazing tonight. I'm not the only one who noticed.
Jay. I stared at it for a long time.
Then a second message followed. Careful though. Secrets don't stay secrets forever. I stared at the text on my phone for what felt like the 100th time. You looked amazing tonight. I'm not the only one who noticed.
Jay.
Careful though. Secrets don't stay secrets forever. I deleted it right after. But it was still burned into my brain. He knows. And worse, he's saying he's not the only one. Who else noticed? What had they seen? Was I that obvious? I buried my face into the pillow, hoping the sheets would somehow smother the thoughts. But they kept crawling back, louder and louder. What did he want? I wore 3 layers the next day. Oversized hoodie. Black jeans. Hat. No makeup. Not even clear lip gloss. I looked like someone trying to disappear. Because I was. At school, I couldn't focus. Couldn't hear the lectures. Couldn't take notes. My eyes kept drifting back over my shoulder, toward the door, toward him. Jared. He wasn't in first period. But he was in second. And when he walked in, his eyes found mine immediately. He didn't smirk. Didn't wink. Just looked. Like a warning. By lunchtime, Emma was watching me like I was a puzzle someone had scrambled. You've barely said a word, she said, picking at her fries. You look like you've seen a ghost. I'm just tired, I muttered. She narrowed her eyes. Is this about Jared? I froze. That 1 second was too long. She caught it.
What did he
say? I shook my head quickly. Nothing. It's fine. Alex. I said it's fine. Her mouth shut, but the look in her eyes didn't fade. She knew something was wrong, and I wasn't ready to admit it. It happened in the hallway between classes. I was heading toward English when he stepped out from behind a row of lockers, calm, like he'd been waiting. He fell and stepped beside me. You looked happier as her, he said. I stiffened. Relax. I'm not going to tell anyone.
My throat felt dry.
Then what do you want? He shrugged. You already know. I stopped walking. He turned back to face me. I want to see Alexis again, he said.
Soon.
Maybe at school. Maybe just for me. That's up to you. You're blackmailing me. He tilted his head.
No.
I'm challenging you. I'm not some dare. Could have fooled me, he said, eyes glinting. Thought you liked a little danger. He leaned in, just enough for me to feel his breath against my ear. Friday, he whispered. Show me something real. Then he was gone.
Just like that.
Like a storm you couldn't predict, but knew was coming back. I stood in front of my mirror. Clean face. Hoodie on. Hair pulled back. I didn't recognize myself. Not because I looked different, but because I didn't feel like me. I reached into the drawer and pulled out the bracelet Emma gave me. The little charm shimmered under the light. Who am I whispered, if I let him control this? My reflection didn't answer, but I saw the fear in her eyes. And behind it something else. Something sharper. Something angry. By Thursday, the pressure in my chest had become unbearable. Jared's message, his dare, wasn't just a threat. It was a trap. He hadn't said what he would do if I refused. That was the scariest part. It let my imagination do all the damage. Would he tell his friends? Would he post something? Would he show someone the texts? Would he say my name Alexis. Out loud in the middle of a crowded hallway? I couldn't risk it, but I wasn't going to give him a victory either. So I came up with a plan. Not full Alexis. Not full Alex. Something in between. I stood in front of the mirror, hands shaking as I applied a single layer of concealer. Just enough to soften the redness in my cheeks. Just enough to feel clean. Lip balm. With a slight pink tint. Hair brushed and parted to the side, less masculine, but not styled. Tight black jeans. A cream-colored fitted sweater that hugged my waist just slightly. And the silver bracelet. The one with the little A. That was the piece that mattered. It wasn't a disguise. It was a signal. To myself.
To him.
To her. Every step down the school hallway felt like stepping onto a tightrope. Eyes flicked toward me and away again. No one said anything. But I felt it. The sweater. The lip tint.
The aura.
It wasn't just in my head. I passed a girl I barely knew, Becca from chemistry, and her eyes lingered for a second too long before she smiled softly and looked away. Not mocking. Not confused. Just seeing. Third period. I slid into my seat at the back of the room. Jared sat diagonally across, spinning a pen between his fingers. His gaze hit me like a match against gasoline. But his face?
Calm.
Collected. And then, he smiled. Like a king who'd won a war no one else knew existed. I wanted to scream. Instead, I crossed my legs and looked away. Emma sat across from me, at our usual table. I picked at my food. She stared. "You're different today," she said. Subtle, but it's there. I shrugged. She reached out, gently turning my wrist to reveal the bracelet. "So she's back." I hesitated. "She never left," I said. "She just doesn't always get to show up." Emma's eyes softened. "You can always be her with me. You know that, right?" I nodded, and felt a sting of guilt I didn't know how to name. Because she thought this was for me, but part of it was for him. After lunch, I locked myself in a bathroom stall and stared down at my boots. Was I doing this because I wanted to? Or because Jared wanted me to? Was I reclaiming my identity? Or surrendering it to someone else? I pulled out my phone. A new message blinked on screen. "Jared, didn't disappoint. Thought you might chicken out. But I like this look. Just enough to tease." I wanted to throw my phone into the toilet. Instead, I typed back. "This isn't for you." His reply was instant. "It is now." I tried to slip out of the building fast, hoodie back on, head down. But he was waiting. Near the bike racks. Casual. Like always. "You're a natural," he said. "I didn't do it for you." He tilted his head. "No? Then why are you texting back?" Silence. He stepped closer. "You're scared of what I'll say. What'll show. But part of you," he leaned in, "likes the attention." I shoved him back, just slightly. But his grin didn't falter. "You're shaking," he whispered. "And not just from fear." "I'm not your game." He chuckled. "You wore the bracelet." I wanted to scream. He walked off. And I stood there, still shaking. That night, I stood in front of my mirror again, removed the hoodie, took a long, hard look at the girl in the reflection. Soft edges, kind eyes, wounded, but standing. I picked up my phone, typed a message to Emma. "Can we talk?" Emma met me behind the school gym, where we used to sneak fries and gossip during freshman year. But this time, her face wasn't playful. It was pissed. "You have to tell me everything," she said. "Now." I told her about Jared's messages. The dare. The threats that weren't quite threats. The twisted way he made it sound like a game, like I was asking for his attention by existing. Emma's hands curled into fists. "He's blackmailing you," she said flatly. "It's not that direct." "That doesn't make it better." She looked me over. "You're scared. And he likes that." I nodded, slowly, and hated that she was right. "I swear," she said, pacing, "if he tells anyone, if he shows even a photo, I'll burn him to the ground." "You can't," I whispered. "Why not?" "Because it'll only prove I have something to hide." Emma stopped moving. "You don't," she said. I gave her a broken laugh. You think the school's ready for this? She didn't answer. Because we both knew the truth. They weren't. It started in first period. A few students whispering. Then looking up, right at me. And whispering again. By lunch, it was worse. 2 girls at the vending machine giggled as I walked by. A guy from bio said, "Hey, nice sweater, Alex, or should I say Alexa?" I froze. He smirked. Jared sat across the cafeteria, watching, not laughing, just sipping his drink like nothing mattered. I ducked into the restroom between classes, breathing hard. My hands trembled as I splashed water on my face. How fast was it spreading? Was it real? Or was it just in my head?
No.
It wasn't, because the whispers had a pattern now. Did you see it? Yeah, someone showed me in chemistry. He actually wore that. My chest tightened like it was being squeezed by a vice. She found me shaking in the corner of the library. No makeup. Hoodie zipped to my chin. Eyes red. She knelt beside me and held my hand. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "Don't apologize." He's winning. Not for long. She handed me her phone. On the screen was an Instagram post from someone named Cassibay, 22. A blurry picture from the Halloween party. Me. In the cream-colored dress.
Wig.
Makeup. Everything. Caption. Who's the new mystery girl? She slayed #QueenEnergy. No tags. No names. But it had over 200 likes already. And the comments were mixed. She's cute AF WTF. I think that's Alex from bio. Wait, no way. If it is, good for her. Yo, Jared's been hanging around her a lot. Emma's voice was calm, but firm. This didn't come from Jared. Someone else took this. So people know. She nodded.
Yeah.
They know. And most of them are confused. Some are supportive. Some are jerks. My voice cracked. Do they know it's me? Emma squeezed my hand. Some of them think they do. And even if they're right, so what? That night, I sat in my room staring at the photo again. I should have felt ashamed. But a tiny part of me didn't. Because even in blurry pixels and grainy lighting, Alexis looked happy.
Alive.
I wasn't sure what scared me more. People finding out. Or finally having nothing left to hide. My phone buzzed again. Jared. Didn't expect you to go viral, princess. Cute pic, by the way. We should talk. 3 dots appeared. Then stopped. No follow-up. No threats. Just a pull. Like a string tightening around my neck. I didn't want to go over. Emma insisted. Her bedroom was lit with soft string lights. The scent of cherry body spray lingered in the air. We sat on her bed, my legs tucked under me, her hand in mine. I didn't speak for 10 minutes. Then, I think he's going to ruin me. Emma didn't flinch. She just waited. I let everything pour out. The party. The texts. The threats.
The shame.
The whispers. The photo. And the worst part, that I can't tell if I hate the attention or if I'm starting to want it. I want to punch him, she said through her teeth. I want to punch every person who laughed, everyone who whispered, everyone who said your name like it was a joke. I shook my head. You can't fight it. I can. She stood, pacing. No one gets to make you feel small for being yourself. No one gets to own your identity. Not even Jared. Emma knelt down again, looking straight into my eyes. You need to stop running. Not from him. Not from them. Not even from yourself. But what do I do? I asked, my voice cracking. Her grip tightened. You show them. Show them? Alexis. My breath caught. In public. Emma nodded. Not halfway. Not subtle. Not maybe it's her. The real you. I stared at her, terrified.
And free.
Because I realized she was right. I stood in front of my closet Friday morning. No hoodie. No hiding. This time, I picked a soft blush pink sweater dress. Subtle shimmer at the cuffs. Nude tights. Low white boots. A heart pendant necklace Emma gave me last year. The wig, styled, brushed, no more fear tangles. Light foundation. Just enough mascara. And a lip tint called Sunrise Kiss. I looked in the mirror and whispered, "Let them look." She picked me up. Didn't say a word. Just smiled like a proud big sister as I stepped into the car. "You ready?" she asked. I nodded, but my heart was trying to punch through my ribs. We walked through the doors together. Silence followed. The front hallway. The lockers. The stairs. People turned. Paused. Looked. Some blinked. Some whispered. A few gasped. I kept walking. Head high. Dress swaying. Eyes forward. Alexis didn't flinch. Second period. He stepped into the hallway from his class. Saw me. And for the first time, he froze. His trademark smirk didn't come. His eyes flicked from my boots, to my necklace, to my face. I held his gaze. Didn't blink. Didn't look away. And then, I walked past him, like he was. We ducked into the girls' bathroom right after. I stared into the mirror, hands still shaking from adrenaline. Emma hugged me from behind, her chin resting on my shoulder. "I've never been prouder," she whispered. "I thought I was going to pass out, but you didn't. Because of you." She smiled. "No. Because of you." By lunch, the whispers had changed tone. Some of them were the same, but some were curious, supportive, admiring. "She's actually pretty. I wish I had the confidence to wear that." Respect. And when I sat down at our usual table, Cassie, the one who posted the party photo, walked over and said, "Hey, I'm sorry if that post outed you. I didn't know, but you looked amazing." I nodded. "Thanks," I said. "I'm Alexis." She smiled and sat down beside me. It was inevitable. By last period, the school felt electric. Everyone had seen me now. Not some blurred Instagram mystery. Not whispers and guesses. Me. Alexis. And Jared? He'd been quiet all day. Too quiet. It happened near the library stairwell, just before the bell. I stepped out from study hall, Emma at my side. He was already waiting, leaning against the railing, like he had planned it. "Got a second?" he asked, eyes locking with mine. Emma stiffened beside me, but I nodded. Alone. I turned to her. "It's okay." She hesitated, then walked off. But her glare said, "Say the word, and I'm back with backup." "You really went all in," Jared said, looking me over. "This isn't a costume." Didn't say it was. He circled slowly, not predatory, just calculating. "You looked good today. Not gonna lie." I crossed my arms. "Whatever game you think you're playing, it's over." "Is it?" He pulled out his phone. One tap. And suddenly, my Halloween photo. Full screen. "I could post this," he said. I raised an eyebrow. "You think that scares me now?" He hesitated. Just long enough. The shift was subtle, but I saw it. He expected fear. What he got was confidence. "I already walked through this school as myself," I said. "What's left to threaten?" He blinked, then smirked. "You really think they're all cool with it? You think people are gonna forget what you used to be?" "I didn't used to be anything," I said. "I just wasn't ready to be seen." He scoffed. "You act like this is bravery." "It is. Or maybe you just like the attention." "Maybe," I said. "But at least I'm not hiding behind someone else's secret." His jaw tightened. Bullseye. Students started gathering nearby. People on the stairwell. Others pretending to scroll on phones. Eavesdropping. I saw their faces. Curious. Eager. Hungry for drama. So I gave them closure. "Go ahead," I said to Jared. "Post it." His hand hovered over the screen. Everyone held their breath. Or, I continued, "I'll do it for you." I pulled out my phone, opened Instagram, found Cassie's photo, reposted it, with a caption. "Hi. I'm Alexis. No more secrets. Just me." I hit share. Everyone's phones buzzed at once. For once he said nothing. No comeback. No snark. No smirk. He just looked at me, like something he thought was his just vanished. Then he turned and walked away. No threat. No control. Just a guy who had lost the only power he had over me. At first, no one said anything. Then someone, Becca, maybe clapped.
Once.
Then again. Then more people joined. Not loud. Not mocking. Just real. A ripple of respect that filled the stairwell. Emma reappeared at my side. You okay? She whispered. I smiled. Better than okay. That evening, I sat in the passenger seat of Emma's car, looking out the window as the sun set. You were incredible today, she said. I was terrified. Good. I turned. Good.
She grinned.
Because you did it anyway. That's what makes it brave. I looked at my reflection in the side mirror. Wind in my hair. Eyes tired, but steady. For the first time, Alexis didn't feel like an act. She felt like home. The lights in my room were soft. I stood in front of the mirror one last time, brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. My heart was still pounding from everything that had happened that day. But this time, it wasn't fear. It was adrenaline. A different kind. I picked up my phone, opened the front camera, and snapped a photo. No filter. Just me. Wearing the blush pink dress. My silver, a bracelet glinting on my wrist. Caption? Simple. She's not hiding anymore. I hit post. Within minutes. Notifications.
Likes.
Comments. Some good. Some ugly. But none of them mattered. Because the person staring back at me in the picture was me. And no one could take that away now. Emma, you just broke the internet, babe. Proud doesn't even cover it. Want me to come over?
Me? No.
I need a moment. Alone. Just to feel this.
Emma.
Okay. But I'm calling you tomorrow. We're celebrating.
Me? Deal. My phone buzzed again. Jared.
Of course. Jared. Nice post. You win. Then, a second message. 3 dots first. Then, for now. I stared at the message. And I smiled. Not because I was scared. Because I wasn't. I typed back slowly. I wasn't playing. I hit send. Then turned off the phone. And looked in the mirror again. Alexis stared back. Confident. Unshaken.
Alive.
Outside, the world kept turning. Inside, a girl who had once hidden behind lockers, dares, and other people's control was finally standing tall. But this story was far from over. Because now, everyone knew her name. And not everyone was going to like it.